everyone, thank you for tuning in again this week. It's towards the end of the school year here in Queensland. We finish school in a couple of weeks, and I've been working with children that are going from kindy to prep, which is your 4 to 5 year olds, and then prep to year 1, and which is your 5 to 6 year olds, 6 to 7 year olds. And I was recently invited to go to a local school to do a school transition prep readiness seminar or course or discussion with parents, and that was really excellent. And I was able to share, just had a short brief moment, and I was asked to speak about fine motor skills and how they benefit children for school readiness and the underpinning aspects of children's development for balance and stability. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So if your child is 4, 5 or 6 and going from kindy to prep or prep to year 1 in Queensland or elsewhere in the world, I will be talking about 2 developmental milestones that are really important that we as occupational therapists assess and look at for children developmentally if they're referred to us for gross motor or fine motor aspects, because our development, we all develop the same. Like a child as a baby has to learn to put their hands together, to learn to crawl, to learn to sit up, to then stand and walk. And all of the core muscles and balance that we develop then enables us to freely be able to use our hands for tasks like catching a ball, cutting, writing, dressing. And imagine being able to imagine if your balance was not well developed and you had to stand and put on a pair of shorts, or you had to be able to stand and clean your teeth, brush your hair, shampoo your hair. All of those things require balance and the use of our 2 hands at one time. And so today's video I've been sharing recently on pre-writing skills, active play, how it benefits putting letters on a line. And really this week is part 2 of your run, play, jump, letters on a line, active play, and how it benefits a child's ability to learn to read, write and spell. And at the school transition to prep, which are children that are 4 or 5 going into prep, and they will turn 5 or 6 in 2020, I was asked to share about fine motor skills, and I discussed how balance and stability really underpin fine motor skills, and spoke to possibly about 50 prep parents that will be in prep. Their children will be in prep in 2020, and so currently they're at kindy. And so these things are so important, and you can prepare your child to enter into prep in 2020 over the school holidays with lots of fun games and activities. On these 2 areas alone I'll just be discussing today, and one of them is being able to stand on your tiptoes for 8 seconds. So developmentally, a 4.5 year old should be able to stand on 2 feet on their tiptoes for 8 seconds. So don't be concerned if you look at your child and they can only do it for 1 or 2 seconds. A couple of children I've been working with recently and privately in consultations can only do 1 or 2, 3 or 4 seconds. And then with that practice at home, they're able to improve and get that to 3 or 4 and eventually up to 8 seconds. So what you're looking for is asking your child to stand on their 2 feet together and then lift their heels off the ground into tiptoes and put their hands, I can't do it because I'm holding the phone, put both their hands up above their head. And so I often say you be like a tree and you're planted, you can't move, the wind's going to blow, so you might be a bit wobbly, but try and hold your feet in the one place like a tree. A tree doesn't move around the garden or the yard, and let's see how far we can count. And as soon as they move their feet, you have to stop counting. You can't count past that. We say, wow, we got to 1 or 2 seconds. So remember, you make it fun, you do it together. You're their cheerleader and you're their coach. So if your children are younger than 4, 4.5, 5, then developmentally they probably won't be ready to do this yet. If your child are spot on this age, then ask them to do it. And you can be cooking in the kitchen, getting ready to clean their teeth, doing things around the house, and you can do it together. And children love to see their parents do these things as well, or their older or younger siblings having a go. So it's standing on 2 feet, standing together, lifting your heels off the ground in tippy-toe position, and the goal is to get to 8 seconds. And that may take you weeks or months, depending how often you practice, depending on your child's developmental age and developmental ability. There's no pressure. Don't make it a hardship or a chore. And when your child's balance develops, it enables them then to be able to be free to use their two hands together in changing direction when they're playing sport, like bouncing a ball, catching a ball, writing and holding the page. And if they require their arms to stabilize them, they'll get tired and they'll want to put their arms on the desk and flop around on the desk and the chair. And so having that good core balance is really important. So that's one thing that we look at, balancing on your tiptoes. And don't be concerned if they only start at 1 or 2 seconds. And you can do so many things. You can get them sing a song, play a game like reaching. You can put things on the clothesline, wind the clothesline down, or put things on the pool fence, different things that they can reach for. And depending on their height, obviously you have to adjust that they can reach for, so that they're learning to be on their tiptoes. And some children, obviously the pool fence is going to be too low, but you can make it fun and do it at their height, depending on their height, obviously, what you can reach for to stand on your tiptoes. And you can put suction cap things on a wall that are just high enough for them to be able to reach off when they're on their tippy toes. And you can do all kinds of ball activities as well, and that makes it trickier because then they're having to use their eye-hand coordination in developing their standing on their tippy toes and doing obstacle courses where they might have to jump from a hoop to a hoop to a hoop that you've got placed down, and you're wanting them to jump and land 2 feet together, which we've talked about in the workshop that I did recently for those parents that were in that workshop, and landing 2 feet together, jumping. And so then when you ask them to check, can you balance on your tippy toes with me, then doing ball skills and reaching and activities has helped develop in a fun way those things. So the second thing is being able to balance on one leg, which is really a precursor or preliminary to being able to hop. And a lot of children find it tricky to hop, and they want to put their leg up in front of them to counteract their balance, but you're wanting them to hop with the leg back in the traditional hopping position. So this balance and stability developmental milestone is your average 5-year-old should be able to stand on one leg, balancing with their knee bent and their lower leg back, just like in the hopping position, and put their hands on their hips and hold that position without swaying more than 20 degrees till you get to a count of 10, so 10 seconds. So that's a developmental milestone, counting to 10, balancing on one leg, hands on your hips, and in the hopping position, but you're not hopping, your feet are planted. And once again, children may get to 1 or 2 seconds and be wobbly and all over the place, but you're wanting to encourage them to stand on one leg. And once again, while they're waiting for tea and they're hungry and they're saying, "Mum, when's tea ready?" or you're tending to a younger sibling and they're waiting to have their teeth cleaned, you can ask them, "Let's stand on one leg, let's be a flamingo, let's see how long we can balance on one leg for." And you're wanting to encourage that. And sometimes I have children put their hand on the wall or on the back of a chair to stabilize themselves, or on you till they get stable. Then even if they can only lift their hand off you or the wall or the chair for 1 or 2 seconds, it's that confidence. Remember, you're their cheerleader and their coach, and you're wanting to gradually build up to 10 seconds. And once again, a lot of children find it really tricky to do this, and it's important developmentally for the average 5-year-old to be able to stand on one leg, balance on one leg in the hopping position with their knee bent, hands on hips, and it's excellent for their balance and stability that then progresses to fine motor skills for daily living, like cleaning your teeth, brushing your hair, shampooing your hair, getting dressed, using scissors, using a pencil, doing tabletop activities that require you to sit or to stand and to hold the posture and develop those muscles. So have fun this week asking your child to see if they can stand on their tiptoes without moving their feet for a count of 8 seconds, and then balancing on one leg. And they should be able to get to doing it on both legs, so alternating between left and right, but bearing in mind we all have a dominant side, so often children I see find it easier to get to 10 seconds on one leg over the other leg. So have fun doing that. Make obstacle courses in the backyard, use rope or hoops or chalk on the ground to draw circles to practice standing up in. And some children find it really tricky to not move their feet, so you can trace around their feet with a piece of chalk and say your feet have to stay here, or let them stand in a hoop and say you can't move out of the hoop. and they can balance on one leg in the hoop, and they can stand on their tippy toes in the hoop. And you can have them hold a ball if they want to, and it's easy for them with their hands on their hips or their hands up. They can hold a ball or hold a balloon, and you can sing songs and do that as a distraction if you like to make it more fun and interesting. So love to get messages from you to hear how you go. And if your child is older, you can also, if they're struggling with any aspects of their gross or fine motor skills, you can check back and see how they go doing this. And if they find it tricky, just start from here, and that will help their development of their balance and stability. So thank you so much. Bye for now.